we're going to be looking at this page and I'm going to talk about some of the content on it. And I hope to get some feedback from those of you who have questions or ideas. And let's jump right in. Oh, somebody just sent me a message. We're live. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through this massive page and all of these steps, and we're going to look at ways that we can filter out and find the right neighborhood that you would be looking for. And as we go through and look at this content, you might have some ideas, and I might come up with some ideas, or we might see a better way. So feel free to engage with me using the chat. And let me pull this up over here on my other screen, because I'm not seeing the right page. Okay. All right. So okay, we got a couple people watching. Great. So the first thing you want to do when you're oh, I got to mute this one over here. Okay, we got a couple people watching. Great. First thing that you want to do is do an in-depth evaluation of the current area that you're living in, because this is going to be very insightful as you start to get into Sherlock Holmes detective mode and start to evaluate different places. Okay, so what is it that you really cherish about your current neighborhood, if anything? What are the things that, when you come home and you're driving into your neighborhood and you pulling in your driveway, think about what it is about that neighborhood that you really like. Okay, and then also you think about the elements of or the key things that you have to leave your neighborhood and go elsewhere to find that you wish were within your neighborhood. Whether it be if you're a parent and you wish you had a nice playground, or some sports activities, or or maybe doctors or therapists, things like that. So is there anything missing? Okay, so, and then there's some things that that you always have dreamed of, like living on a waterfront property, living, beachside. So is that something that living in your current area, you wish you had? Okay. Do you love to have a morning coffee that you would like to just stroll out across the street or down the block? So these are some things to look at just to evaluate your current situation. All right. So the next thing is to count the cost. Now there's a classic old story. It's actually a Bible story about a guy who starts a building project and he runs out of money, and then so everybody has a good laugh at him because he did not count the costs. And actually, about an hour and a half north of where I live, there's this huge mall on the side of the road, and it's got walls. It has foundation walls, openings for doors and windows, but it has no roof. And there are actually trees growing up, from the from inside. So the lesson there is you need to consider the cost, the amount of income that you have, the amount of assets that you have. You really need to, before you start snooping and researching different neighborhoods and different areas, you want to make sure it's plausible, because you don't want to be stuck living off of ramen noodles, or having to foreclose or something like that. All right, so I know we're going a little bit slow here. Maybe I'll speed it up. Oh, we got a chat. Thanks, Charles. Yeah, this page has got a lot of really helpful content in it. So the next thing you want to do is ask questions. Ask the right questions, okay? So according to what we did in step number 1, things that we liked about our current area or did not like, we want to take those and apply them to the area that we might be considering. Like you want to have a quiet place or a place that's more active. You know, if you want a lot of things going on, like you know, nightlife or concerts or you know, really nice restaurants and things like that, you're probably going to have to deal with some noise, especially in the evenings. Um, if you're into tourist attractions or you know, things like that, that's something you might want to consider. I know in Northeast Florida, there's a lot of touristy type things that you can go to, especially in the St. Augustine area. Do you want to have anonymity, or you like a tight-knit community? Now, in regards to this, you know, you might be thinking that, well, if you're in a large metropolitan area, you are you know, you wouldn't have like that small town feel or that tight-knit community. But within larger cities, you can have communities that have that same feel, that same dynamic. You might want to look at the lot sizes for the particular neighborhood that you're looking at. If you want to have a backyard for kids or for barbecues or whatever, you might want to look in an area that has larger lot size. So after you work through this and you know, maybe make a list of things that you're really looking for, you want to go through and take the time to jot down some things that you really don't want. Um, yep. So make your unwanted list. Um, I stayed at my brother's house up in Georgia about maybe a quarter of a mile from where we were staying. There's a train track, and that thing, I think we had about 4 or 5 trains go through one night, and you can actually feel the ground shaking as they go by. So you know, maybe over time. Actually, another example when it comes to noise is when I lived in downtown Charleston. There was a busy street out front, a nice little place that we had. But when I first moved there, all of the noise of the cars going by really bothered me. But over time, I didn't even hear them anymore. Even though it was the same cars always going by, but your brain just kind of learns how to tone that out, and it actually was not an issue for me. Now this next one is a big one for a lot of people, and the great thing is, if you go, there's a helpful link here. It goes to city data. There's awesome statistics that you can look at and go very specific into different areas and neighborhoods for crime rates, so that you know not only you know, how the volume of crimes, but the types of crimes. So, and if you want to even go more in depth, you can actually get in touch with your local police department, and they have firsthand knowledge and will be able to help. So that's kind of the preliminary research here in this top white area. You go down to this next section here. This is where you're actually you've checked out some areas, and now it's time to get out, or actually get in your car, drive around first, check it out, and then actually get out of the car and scope it out. You know, go bump into people and say hello, and you know, get a real feel for it. This is where you really want to turn on your powers of observation as a detective, as a Sherlock Holmes, checking out the neighborhood. Now, you also want to consider doing this not just, in the middle of the day when there's hardly anybody out. You want to. I would say probably the most important time to do it would be at night, and possibly on a weekend evening. So if you see this graphic here, this little bench here, you're going to come walking down here and just sit on this bench. Stop and listen, observe sounds like birds, or sometimes living near airports. Airplanes can be really loud. All right, so the next thing to consider is your transportation, especially if you're going to, have to commute to work. This can really be a big deal. And actually, when I got out of college and I first moved to Charleston, South Carolina, I lived about 20 minutes from my job. I know for most people, for a lot of people, that's nothing, right? But I was single and I had the ability to move wherever I wanted. So when I moved into actually it was an apartment complex, I moved into renting a home with a few friends. I was like 2 minutes or less from my job, and having that was just it was amazing. So considering that, if you don't like fighting traffic, if that is something that gets on your nerves, or some people don't mind it as much, but really consider the commute to your work. And in some places in your larger cities, you've got great public transportation options. Another thing to consider is access to airports, depending on your job or your family that you may have to visit. So consider international travel, access airports. Okay, if you're a mom or a dad, especially probably for moms, schools are a huge deal. So as we were talking about crime rates, we also have great data in regards to schools. So it doesn't take you very long to go in and check out the status of schools. You can even read actual parents what they say. You can go into Facebook groups and look at different schools. And so you have private schools and public schools and Montessori schools and all sorts of even homeschoolers. You can find great homeschool groups where parents get together and share and provide social interaction for those needs. So so schools is a big deal. So as we go through this, and we were making a list back here of things, the unwanted list, and some of these asking the right questions and jotting down ideas from there. At some point you come to a place where you really have to decide if you want to. If you really have to decide between a couple of things that you just don't want to compromise on. So, for example, you had a great couple of schools in one area, and then you had proximity to your workplace, and so you have to decide which ones are the ones that you're not willing to compromise on. And if you're married, make sure that you decide those things together. Great thing is, in regards to those of you who are like waterfront or beachfront, most of those communities have great schools. However, you probably will have somewhat of a commute going into back to your home. I mean, back to and fro from work. So then back to looking at prices. You will also these are some kind of extras that you can add on. Looking at future developments, the general trend of is this neighborhood on the rise or is it in decline? Things like that. And then a couple more just bonus tips, and then we're pretty much done here. And that's Oh, good comment there. Thanks, Evan. Nothing beats boots on the ground. Very true. Um, as far as amenities go, there's great data there that you can search online. Grocery stores, cafes, restaurants, things like that. So the next thing, and we're not going to get too weird with this, we're not going to do Eastern meditation here, but you can kind of visualize yourself in your day-to-day activities, your daily routine, what you do, what you get up and do, what you enjoy, what are the things that you want to that you do every day that you're going to be doing these in this new neighborhood. So if you kind of visualize that, okay, oh, I'm in this new neighborhood. I want to take my dog for a jog with me, or I want to go shoot some hoops or play tennis. How's this going to work in the new neighborhood? Okay, and so to wrap things up, there are neighborhood guides that you can read, and that's one way to get a quick snapshot when you're doing your preliminary research. This website has been adding neighborhood guides every week. So there's one here on the Jacksonville area. I know there's a new one that was just added today for the St. Augustine area. So when you click through and you check out these area guides, there's one for just downtown Jacksonville. So you can read through that in like 2 or 3 minutes, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a place I'd like to go and see, or nah, maybe this is not the best fit for me. So check out some of the area guides on oceanicprops.com and other sites to get a quick overview of some areas that you might be considering. Anyway, I want to thank you for tuning in today. And I appreciate the feedback on the chat, and I will see you next time on oceanicprops.com. Check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can look at some of our awesome drone videos when you have time also. Anyway, it's great to share this afternoon with you, and take care.